Not in theory, but in just based on your experience and your feelings, what do you feel that you have been sacrificing from that beginning till now? Like for both of you, you know, what are the things that you feel like, okay, I'm not going to have that, I'm not going to have this?
I think it is like what I had just talked about, is that mutual hormones converging, and I want you so bad, and like those feelings, like, and I feel like we achieve really great moments, like together that are amazing, like, and I think,
get there.
Like my friends, when they found out, you know, just recently that he's gay, were like, what? That your sex life is that?
We have a good sex life. Like,
you know?
I've heard.
And
I guess we probably are like, hopefully not overly public about that fact.
try to like respect it because it's very sacred to us.
Of course, but
but
it's part of what we're talking about.
yeah,
Right?
and people are, you know, curious, like, how are you making that work, and what, and so
So how do you make it work? So, because that's a question I had actually, just to first clarify, and then let's get into
launch
it.
into it.
And
I wanted to answer the question that you'd asked.
Oh,
before
okay,
too.
definitely. The blog, you know, you mentioned or sort of qualified your sort of level of attraction to her, that you're not necessarily attracted to her in that physical, but then in Nightline, the way he
I don't think
pressed
I ever
you-
said. I don't think I specifically said that in the blog.
Okay.
But, well, someone right now watching this is looking it up and putting in the comments.
I think I've read it a few times, but,
right.
But I'm sure you have too. So I just want to clarify that.
Sure.
You know, from the Nightline, which again depends on how he was sort of pushing you, and I know how interview dynamics go.
Right.
But so settle the score. Like, are you attracted to her? In what way are we really talking about? What does that really mean?
Okay.
Specifically?
Are we going there right now?
Well, if you want to go back, and then
let me rewind to what I was giving up, which for me is a little, well, I don't know how different it is, but I also was giving up like physical sex with men, you know, like the sexual component of like every sexual fantasy I'd ever had. Just being like, nope.
And you never had any, it was all fantasy. Okay.
So,
sorry, that was a little aggressive.
well, whatever, it's out there. So,
what about emotional for both of you? I mean, did you feel or do you feel that there's any disconnect on the emotional
between
bonding?
us?
Yeah, on the emotional bonding.
No, not at all. In fact, kind of what I wanted to say before we launch into the other thing also. So yeah, that's one of the things that I gave up. I know it's a big sacrifice. I mean, it is definitely something that if you are approaching, you know, if there are plenty of people that do this, and you got to be real with yourself. Like, you are saying that will not happen, and there's plenty that you get in the exchange, but you are giving something up too.
Sorry, can I say?
Go ahead.
For both of you, how much do you value that? Because for me, that's one of the fundamental salient questions. Because some people are, I don't really like sex, so it doesn't matter the orientation. You know, it's not important to me. You had mentioned you're a bit of a sexual being.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for both of you, what is that value, and how high do you place it?
For me, what is the value of what? Of
sexual gratification and its role in the bonding that happens. To me, that's
of our intimacy.
They're inextricable.
Yeah.
Like, well, individually, even how important is it to you, and then how well would you say you meet, you know, the need that you have. You know, there could be those two different levels. Well, I really think it's important, but we only go this far, or we exceed my expectations, or, you know.
So here we go. I'm just trying to answer that. When I'm thinking about like sexuality, you know, with men, which is the thing I'm giving up. In my case, at this point, given my choice of relationship, that it's actually irrelevant now, just because you know, I'm not forging an intimate relationship with a man, and so it's not complementing really any relationship, and so That's not really important. It's not really important to me. That is not. But sexual intimacy, especially with my partner, is very important. And in fact, one of the positive dividends of how we did things is the fact that for our intimate relationship to work and to thrive, and it's going to thrive or crumble into nothingness. Like it was either going to work really well or not work at all. Yeah, okay. And for it to thrive, we were able to experience what many married couples eventually end up aspiring to much later in their togetherness. What is that? Which is sexual intimacy, sexuality that is intimacy based as opposed to infatuation and lust based. And a lot of the research of David Schnarch in grad school, I read a lot of his stuff, and it was like, and one of the things he studied was the elderly sexuality in the elderly, which we all kind of assume like no one's doing anything at those ages. Yeah, ew, yuck, and
but of course they're.
To the contrary, their sex lives in a lot of cases, because they are more aged and those other kinds of hang-ups about looks and stuff have kind of gone by the wayside, their intimacy, their sexuality is much more intimate and close, and they describe it as being a lot more real and vibrant and beautiful. And
so is it a priority to either of you to have your clothes just ripped off by your partner? Like that sort of like... My goodness, my partner cannot
resist.
How important is that to either of you? And maybe it happens.
I would say that happens for sure. But it's not. It's different. Yeah. It's different than it would be, I think, for either of us in a different relationship. But.
Yeah, and I guess you're asking an interesting question, and how important it is to you, because I've seen it.
Because it's not important.
Yeah, like some of our friends, where the girl's like, I could just stop having sex altogether and be totally happy.
Right.
And that is not me.
Right.
I would be sad, and I feel like it's really important in our marriage to connect in that way. And I feel like it meets expectations.
Yeah. And it's also
an A.
Right, A. Good work.
And in fact, I have thought, this is so weird, sometimes where he'll come home late from work and I'll be like, oh, and my mind goes through these weird things like, what if he's dead on the road, And then I'm like, I go through these scenarios like, what if he dies? I'm going to have to get remarried. And I'm like, oh, whoever I remarry is not going to meet expectations. Like, he's not going to be as good of a lover as Josh is. I'm like, and I'm obviously assuming I'm going to marry a straight guy.
Right.
Like, after you.
Right. After
in
I
your
die.
pretend death that I somehow manufacture. Right. Because he's so wonderful and in tune to me. Like, it is.
It's really good. What can I say? What can I say?
So good.
I'm like, I'm really good. Yeah,
no, that's really important. Like that's a fundamental question that everybody needs to understand about themselves. Sure. Like, what are my expectations and where am I? And am I okay if there's a discrepancy? But you're saying expectations high and met.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, that's not to say that if I could wave a magic wand and be like, and I wish that you could do blah. Like you're saying, there's those moments, where someone's like, I want you so bad, and what I mean.
The depth of passion.
Yes. And
but are you saying that sometimes it's sort of almost studied for you in some way?
Not studied.
It's now not. We are going to copy.
We will now engage in this.
Yeah. No, so clearly, I mean, I'm gathering, obviously, but yeah.
Well, actually, I think for a lot of married couples that it can kind of get to that point. Yeah, it happens.
Friday night.
We have friends that have specific days that they, but so I don't want to say that that kind of thing never happens, but But no, it's not. It is not like we will now engage in coitus.
Right.
You know, like it's.
And so you guys definitely describe it in terms of the level of intimacy.
Right.
In terms of emotional and reading each other, being on that same page and providing for each other enhances the sexual experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you say any more about that intimacy? Because that's, I think, a big missing piece for people trying to understand. But because frankly, I think there's some people that think, well, wait, the way they describe the relationship, it sounds like a heterosexual marriage.
Right.
You may be tempted, whatever that even
Sure,
means, tempted
sure.
by
Other
either one of
stuff,
you,
yeah.
extramarital stuff. But if you're really having great sex and you're attracted
Yeah.
to it, and it doesn't, because I've interviewed some men who are married and really working hard at it,
Yeah.
like 15 plus years in it, but they say, I am not attracted to her at all,
Yeah.
and it hurts me. Like they're able to get to a point of being conscious of it. It actually hurts me.
Yeah.
And then after that, of course, hurts her because she doesn't want to hurt her husband.
Oh
because
yeah.
she has
That's hard.
needs.
Yeah.
That's really
It's like,
hard.
ugh. So you guys aren't in that place,
Yeah.
right? You genuinely are attracted to one another, fulfill one another's needs in a genuine, like, unpracticed way.
Yeah.
What makes it different than a heterosexual marriage then?
Just
that added component of, I'm also attracted to guys.
yeah, like I'm gay. I don't know. It's kind of like, and I think I realized what the distinction was in my post versus the interview, the Nightline interview, which is in my post I say that I am not attracted to women.
Yeah. But you are too.
But I am attracted to Lolly,
Break
which
that-
is something
It was not always the case.
we have worked.
Break that down.
We have worked on it. I don't think that our sexuality now, as compared to our wedding night, is the same. I think that we have really progressed, and I think every marriage you get. We're getting really into the sex topic, but whatever. It's
For some people, that's the most
important.
salient part.
Yeah. It's important. So, but yeah, so.
Which I think
as
is
a
the case for
people
any-
need to get work on it. Yeah,
I mean, whenever if you're having two virgins come together and having sex for the first time, it's not gonna be.
It's rarely magic.
right,
It is gonna take time and it's gonna take trust, and so
That's part of the intimacy process is trusting each other with that deep vulnerability of personhood. Like, this is my full self. I'm giving it to you. You're giving the same to me.
Yeah.
We are simultaneously experiencing this thing, and then over time building on that and making it and so I think that also my attraction level, I don't know exactly why or how, and I would not say that it is. I don't even know I don't want to quantify things. I don't think, but it has changed a little bit.
course,
My attractions to Lolly have deepened over time.
Well,
Which
probably
makes
partially,
sense.
because you guys couldn't be lackadaisical.
Right.
Like, going in, you didn't take anything for granted like a heterosexual couple might
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Like, we're part A fits part B, and I like you, and it works.
Yeah.
And done.
Yeah.
And then they worry why
Why is
it's
it
not going
away?
well 10 years
Right.
later because
Yeah.
it's like they haven't,
Yes.
put some thought and effort into
Right.
it. You guys, you knew it. You
Right.
just knew that, okay, this is going to take a little work.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and
Yeah.
it's true.
That's
and
exactly
I think
right.
there's a lot of mental things that go into it where like when I feel good about myself, it affects
Yeah.
our intimate relationship. Like
Likewise.
when like when I'm feeling good and I'm like, yeah, I look good, you should want this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think he responds to that. And I've seen that in, heterosexual couples,
Yeah.
when someone's not comfortable with who they are, like you are attracted to people that are confident.
Right.
And so, that is, and so mentally, I've seen this with friends whose husbands like look at pornography and they have a really hard time with that. And they think, how am I supposed to compare to those women?
Yeah.
Like, and so in their mind, they're like, how can he like this, this body that's given birth to like 4 kids when that's what he's looking at.
Yeah.
That's what he wants. I'm nothing like that. And then their sex life suffers so much. And so it's about, feeling like he has chosen me, he loves me, and I'm in that mental space.
Yeah.
Like I am not thinking he's wanting something else right now.
Right.
I'm like, he's chosen me.
Yeah.
You know, this is what ultimately he wants.
Above all
And,
else,
and so I think that helps.
Yeah.
And just feeling good about myself
Mm-hmm.
and,
Yeah.
and trying to, you know.
Which he feeds, but then also you have to bring it. You have to have the
Yeah.
confidence
Self-sustain.
within you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really gay, but I could totally see the attraction. You were very hot. So
Thank you.
Check it.
Thank you.
I mean,
Do you-